Hey, ladies and gentlemen, how are y'all tonight? Reading the chat, there looks to be lots of fun, huh? All right, let me know if you're here by telling me your favorite Star Wars character. I'll start off. I'll show you mine. You know one who really matters. Well, hello there. Obi-Wan Kenobi. Not the old guy either. Alec McGinnis, he's good, but no. That one. That's my favorite. All right, lots of R2-D2s out there. My youngest son, when he was real little, apparently he didn't know how to say R2-D2, so it was D2-D2. C-3PO is a good one. Hey, anything by John Williams. Man is a not lyrics, but he is a musical genius, okay? All right, ladies and gentlemen, I guess we should start. We're going to talk a little bit about the FRQs, a little bit of tips and tricks. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I am a AP reader. I've been an AP reader for, 5 years. I get to be a reader this year, too, so I'm really looking forward to it. What I'm not looking forward to is sitting at my desk doing it at my house. So that's not much fun. That's not much fun at all. All right. We're not going to worry. My dog wants to visit us. We're not going to worry about the Reddits right now. But yes, College Board is out there looking for cheaters. They are actively looking for it. Just like if you were sitting in a room, the AP Proctor would be actively looking for people cheating. Okay? So it is what it is. If you're not cheating, you don't have to worry about it, right? All righty. I guess we should start this little shindig here. All righty. So that's right. No cheating means no worries. Exactly there, Harrison. Okay. Alrighty. So like I said, tonight we're going to talk about a little bit about FRQs, tips, and tricks. I've got this from a whole bunch of sources that I've collected over the years. Actually, the one I'm going to share with y'all, I sent to y'all in the email this morning. That was put on my AP, my APES Facebook page by somebody way back in April. So I had to go back and modify a few things here and there. Alrighty. And then, of course, we're going to talk about the FRQs that I sent to y'all, which apparently the link didn't work, so I had to resend again today. So if you guys did not get an email about an hour ago, double check it because that's where I have the FRQs. But, they're in the stream with us tonight anyway, so that's not a problem. Okay? All right. So I'd like to say, keep looking at the weekly stream calendar, but after Sunday, you don't really have to worry about. We still have streams, but not nearly as many. Not nearly as many, okay? All right, so let's talk about Sunday. Okay, Sunday. We have a really big cram session, our 5-hour cram session, right? You guys should have gotten an email about it or at least seen it, okay? Please come. Originally, we were going to have 2 of our student streamers in there, Harrison being one of them. Give him a shout out there, Harrison. Harrison's with us tonight. But unfortunately, it's just not going to work out that way. So there were changes, as he's saying right now. There were changes. So we're going to have Jenny McLean come in. She was one of the original APE streamers, and then she got a promotion. So that was awesome. So she's going to come back and do something that she loves. Talk about apes, which is cool. All right, so she's going to be with us. And then by halfway through, we're going to take about a 10-minute break. And then I'm going to come back for the other 2.5 hours. And we're going to talk more about FRQs. And I'm going to do like little practice questions. And I have a couple little examples. It's like, hey, where's the constant in this? Or what is the independent variable, dependent variable are? If this was the prompt, what would your answer be? So we're going to do a whole bunch of that. Hopefully, it'll all go as planned. But, if ever there were mistakes, there are mistakes. We're going to fix them, right? Oh, yeah, Maddie, I'm going to be eating too. I'm eating my little animal crackers as it is right now because this is normally my dinner time. So here we go. Okay. So as always, I appreciate y'all being with us. Okay. Your time is valuable. I know that. And I appreciate y'all spending it with me tonight. This is our last normal cram session. Okay. After Sunday, it's going to be over. Monday, You take your test. Woo, fun times. Okay. Hey, I like animal crackers. Usually I have this dark chocolate hummus that I eat with them. But right now, it's just the animal crackers. Oh, there's nothing to be scared about. Nothing to be scared about. Take deep breaths. Trust yourself. Trust your gut instinct, okay? Once you start double thinking or like overthinking things, that's when mistakes happen. Just trust in your knowledge, and you will be able to do it, okay? And also, remember, you are not trying to get a perfect score on this, okay? No, you're just trying to get as many points as you possibly can. That's what it is. So if you can't answer a question, can't answer a portion of a question, you just go on. Don't waste your time on something that if you waste time on one part, you're going to lose points on everything else. So if you can't answer something, you just go on to the next part. Always come back later, okay? All right, question is, can you get a 5 without getting everything correct? Heck yeah, you can. They even said that the test is longer than what they plan on you be able to do in that time frame anyway. So yeah, you can still get a 5 and not answer everything correctly. All right, just as many as you possibly can. All right, that's what we're trying to do. All right, so tips and tricks. The FRQ question, the sample question number 1 and the sample question number 2. Apparently, there was a couple of documents floating around out there, so I sent y'all a copy in your email today. About 4 o'clock this afternoon, my time. So about an hour and a half ago, almost 2 hours ago. Okay. Yeah, we'll talk about what you should. In fact, actually, let's talk about that right now. So let's talk about how to take your test and how to be successful in your test. Okay. First up, how many questions are there? The answer's on the screen. That's right. There's 2 questions. All right. Your first question, of course, is about 25 minutes, and then you're going to have an extra 5 minutes to upload your answer. Can you legitimately answer within that 5 minutes time? We'll talk about how many parts in a minute. I'll answer that question in a minute. Are you able? Okay, so you're going to have a 30-minute timer on your screen. It's going to be in the lower right left-hand corner, I believe, just like you guys did on the practice. Are you able to use the entire 30 minutes to answer the question? Yes or no? All right. The answer is no. You cannot use all 30 minutes because you need to have time to actually upload your answer. And that was some of the problems that people were having the past couple of days is with uploading your answers. And we'll talk about that here in a minute. So once that last 5 minutes comes onto the screen, the timer should turn red. You need to start uploading your answer. Okay. Stop what you're doing and upload your answer. Okay. You can, of course, submit before that. You can submit it, and you're just going to sit there and wait for the time to end so you can go on to your next question. Okay. All righty. So question number 2 is, question number 1 is your design and investigation. It's about 60% of the grade. Okay. As for how many parts are in there, we do not know. Okay. We don't know at all, but they're going to have lots of parts. And so the release question, the sample question I have with y'all, you can see it has like 8 parts to it. So we're going to go over that together. Just as holy cow. But that's okay. You have 25 minutes. All right. You'll be all right. Remember, you don't have to answer everything. You just try to answer as much as you possibly can. All right. Your second question is 15 minutes long, plus the other 5 minutes to upload your answer. And it is our analyze a problem, propose a solution. Okay. It's okay. Don't worry. You guys will be good. Like I said, just take deep breaths. And remember, this test does not make or break who you are. You are still the same person you were before the test. So just remember, you are a good person. You have the knowledge. If you just take a deep breath, you will be just fine. Okay. You guys ever come to these sessions? You've been watching replays. You'll be all right. All right. So here's the thing. The test is longer. It was designed like that. They added extra parts to it just to make sure that if you couldn't answer something, maybe there's another portion. Like maybe you just don't know the answer to part B. Dadgummit, I hate myself. I can't answer part B. Oh, yeah, go on part C. You may still be able to get points on part C. It's all right. So they have more things in there than what you actually are required to answer. Now, I will try to answer every single question. That's what I would do. I would try to answer every single question in order to get the most points. If I can't answer something right there and then, if my brain is just not functional, skip it, go into the next one. Come back to it later, okay? Don't have to worry about it. Yeah. Yeah, if y'all are reading chat, you guys are doing a great job over here helping each other out. All right, where do you go to sign in for the test? AP Classroom or the College Board website? You should have gotten an email from College Board talking about you will be getting a exam ticket. You will in 2 days before any test, you'll get an exam ticket in your email. If you do not get it, that's perfectly fine. You can go to the AP Classroom and you'll find your exam ticket in there. Okay. So yes, Saturday you should be able to get your e-ticket. Again, if it's not in your email, then go to AP Classroom. You will be able to see it there. Okay. Okay, so let's see. What is next on here? Oh, yes. So let's talk about how to upload. It's been highly suggested by a whole bunch of the people that have already taken the test. Hey, type up your answers, either in a Google Doc, Word, a text, WordPad, Notepad, whatever, and then copy and paste that into your submission box. You won't be able to actually type in the submission box. You can only copy and paste in there, okay? You can download your document as a PDF, and you can upload it like that. You can download it as a Word doc. You can't actually download it as a Google Doc because that's an online thing, but you can download it as a Word doc from Google if you want to. But we've seen lots of people have problems with uploading stuff, especially pictures, okay? So that's why on here, if you're going to take a picture, if you're going to handwrite your work, that's perfectly fine. When you take a picture of it, it's got to be in a PNG file or a JPEG. Now, most cameras, most phones cameras are going to do a JPEG, okay? iPhone cameras, they default to an HEIC, which I have no clue what that stands for, but it's not a file format that the College Board is able to read properly. Within your camera settings on your iPhone, you are actually able to alter, the file save type as JPEG. I don't know how to do that because I'm an Android guy, okay? I am an Android guy, okay? So definitely, please, if you have not done so, do the practice demo, okay? Please test it out so that way you know how to do it. You've got to. Oh, it stands for high efficiency image file. Hey, thank you, Harrison. All right. And one other thing. This doesn't always pertain to people because we are such a Wi-Fi people nowadays. But if you have the option to do it on like a desktop computer or something like that, where it's hardwired in, then usually that's a little bit faster than like Wi-Fi or 4G, okay? It's not a requirement. Don't get me wrong. It is not a requirement at all. You can still do it on your phone. You can still do it on a tablet. You can still do it with your, your house's Wi-Fi and everything else. It's perfectly fine. But if you can use your Ethernet, you can have a laptop like I'm using right now, or a desktop that's hardwired into the router. Usually it's a little bit faster, okay? But again, not a requirement, just, if you have the option, I would choose that. Okay, all right, so let's go on to my next thing. Oh, high efficiency image container. A picture's not a container. Silly Apple. Anyway, all right, so let's talk about a checklist of items here, okay? Things that I was taught when I first started teaching, or when I was first taught how to be an APES teacher, and things that I've got from a whole bunch of readers over the years and being a reader. One, really, please use complete sentences. It's insanely rare that just a word or a phrase is enough to give a complete answer, okay? You really need to use a complete sentence. Now, if it can be just a single word or phrase, still use that complete thought, okay? It really does not take much more time. Don't worry about like spell checks or anything like that. So long as we can kind of understand what you're talking about, you're good. All right. If you type in the word Gurkle Flurkle, but you really meant penguin, yeah, good luck on that one. Okay. You might want to double check a few things here and there. All right. Gurkle Flurkle is just my go-to word for meaninglessness. Okay. All right, here's my another one. Label all your answers. Please label the answers, all right? Part A, lowercase I, A, I, whatever it may be, B, B-I. Label the answers. You do not have to do all of them in order, okay? Again, oh, crap, I can't figure out B, dadgummit, go on to C. Oh, no, but I need to leave space. No, you don't. You labeled C, answer C. Oh, now I know what B is. Now underneath that, you can put B and put the answer to B. That's perfectly fine. The readers are cool with that. They may not like it, but they're a lot happier with you labeling things than if you just put in a huge paragraph and then we have to try to figure out where your answers are. I tell my students all the time, there's a few people in your life you never want to upset. One, the people who make your food. You can figure out why you don't want to upset anybody who makes your food. Two, anybody who cleans up after you. And the third, anybody who has to grade your papers. If you make the reader have to hunt down your stuff, they get angry, they get tired. They may, and even though we're required to read everything you write, if it gets all jumbled up, we may not understand where A answer is and B and C. So it may be too difficult. So therefore, you may lose points. So label, label, label. And again, it does not have to be in the same order, okay, as in the test. All right, let me catch up and see if there's anything in our chat here. All right, cool beans. All right, let's continue, shall we? All right, my next little trick. Here's the thing. If the question asks, please provide 2 examples of soil horizons, the very first 2 will be the ones that are graded. It doesn't matter if you give 14 of them. There's not 14, but they're only going to grade the first 2 answers that you put down. Okay. Now let's say you put down 3 answers, but like the first one's wrong, the second and third one are correct. You're not going to get credit for that third answer. You lost credit for the first one because it was wrong, and you got credit for the second one because that's right. They stopped reading after that. Okay. If you were asked to provide 2 whatevers, that's all they're going to do is they're only going to grade the first 2 and ignore everything else after that. That's it. Okay. If you guys are paying attention on the side they are talking about over here, make sure you put your ID number at the top. Okay. They say you don't technically have to, but it is helpful. Okay. And your initials. Remember, we don't want to put any names on this, which is another one of my tips in here in a little bit. Oh, and please don't restate the question. We know what the question is. We don't need to read it again. All right. I read a little over 2,000 essays last year. Believe me, I did not want to read, well, the answer to part A, which was blah, 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 blah. Here's the answer. No, don't rewrite the question. Don't restate it. Just answer the question. That's it. We don't need anything else extra after that. Okay. Yes, the AP ID is in your e-ticket. Actually, if you go to AP Classroom, you're going to see your AP ID there as well. Okay. Okay, next one. Answer the question and nothing but the question, so help you gosh. Okay. Extra information could possibly contain wrong information in there. And here's the thing. You are going to get points deducted. If you give us extra stuff that was not needed in that question, and it's incorrect, and it basically contradicts what you said earlier, you had the point, but then you contradicted it, now it's gone. Okay? So only answer the question that's there. That's it. Don't answer anything else. Just the question that is asked of you. Okay? Yes, Tanya, your AP ID is the same. No, basically, as soon as you entered to be as AP student, that is your, let's say your social security number now for all testing. Okay, it's not your social security number, don't get me wrong, but that number is associated with you until you're no longer a member of a institution that takes tests like this. No, each account, it does not have its own ID. Each person has their own ID. Okay. And nobody's dumb. Dumb people don't learn from mistakes, okay? That's the difference between smart people and dumb people. Dumb people do not learn from mistakes. Smart people do. All right. Also, here's another thing. Do not tell us what your name is, your teacher's name, what school you're at, or anything like that. Things like that are usually going to get flagged and, like I said, redacted. Normally on our paper copies, they put sticky notes over top of it. They black it out with Sharpie markers and all that. As a reader, we are not to know any personal information about you that could possibly prejudice us towards giving you points or away from giving you points. Okay, you are literally just a number to an AP reader. So we cannot have any names, any teacher names, nothing like that. Okay, we cannot have any of those. So please do not provide them. Don't give them to us. That's why at the top of your pages, that's your AP number, the AP ID, and your initials. That's it. Okay, no names. Okay, no names. Okay. People sent selfies? That's wrong. That's just wrong. All right. Okay. And absolutes are absolutely bad. Okay. Don't say that everything is going to be killed. I doubt there's anything that will kill everything. Even cockroaches will survive a nuclear bomb. Don't say that it hurts all life or anything like that. Keep out of the absolutes. You can say it can, and this is a terrible phrase that I use, it can damage a lot or it can damage many or some, but never use absolutes, okay? And yes, actually, I believe my next slide is talking about vague, stuff like that. Actually, in 2 more slides. Vague is totally bad too. Vague does not show your understanding, okay? And like I said, try not to leave anything blank. You may not know the answer to something. You can always come back to it, okay? But try not to leave it blank because blank answers are no points. There's a possibility that you can, wiggle out a point somewhere by basically just trying to answer the question. You may not get it right, and that's perfectly fine. They're never going to take points off from other portions of the test. Okay, so each question portion, you either get the point or you don't get the point. That's it. Okay. Alrighty, let's see. Okay, let's talk about no flowery phrases. No vague comments, no what we like to call eco-babble, okay? Oh, man, we see lots of eco-babble. It's really not worth any points. None whatsoever, okay? So, yeah, no beating around the bush. Answer the question. That's it, okay? State it. You are trying to show the AP readers and College Board that you know what you're talking about. By beating around the bush, you're just, we think that you're not that intelligent, okay? I'm straight up going to tell you that. We don't think you're all that smart. So state the answers, okay? So here we go. Things like, this will affect the environment. Well, you didn't tell me if it's going to be a good effect, it's going to be a bad effect. How is it going to affect? Don't just say it will be good for the environment either. Tell me why it's good for the environment. Explain yourself a little bit, all right? This is dangerous to Mother Nature. Mother Nature is not a real person. Don't say that, okay? We know you're basically humanizing, the planet and ecosystem and all that, but she's not a real person, okay? This causes pollution. Anytime that you say pollution and you leave it at that, you get no points. If the question was asking about pollution, you need to talk about what pollutant is present or emitted or created, okay? You can't just say, this creates air pollution. No. If you paid attention to, Monday? There's a lot of air pollutants. You need to nail it down. Again, you are trying to show your knowledge. You are attempting to get a college credit by taking this one test. By using flowery, vague, or eco-babble type comments and all that, you are not showing that you're worthy of that grade for this college course, okay? So tell us what you know, okay? It harms animals. How? Please, you have to describe these things, right? Descriptions. It causes a change. Is it a positive change? It means it goes up. If it's a negative change, go down. What is it? Okay. All right, I'm going to read the little chats over here. Exactly. Yeah. Pay attention to what Harrison's saying right there because he's taking the test. Okay. All right. I got a question in here. Let's see what I got here. Harrison's already answered, but I'm going to do it anyway. So, how important is it for us to take a strong positive, negative stance in our answers? It's very important. All right. And you can't say, well, it helps the environment, but really it hurts it. No. Do not straddle a fence. You pick a side. That's it. And you stay to that side. Don't go back. Okay. That's what it is. You pick a side of the fence. You do not straddle it. All right. All right. So I wanted to do a little practice here with y'all. Okay. So get your little typing fingers ready. So here's a rather weak statement. Okay. Mercury contamination in food can hurt children. Which part of this is weak? Okay. Which part of this is weak? That's right. It hurts children. See, y'all are smart. I love y'all. It can hurt children. How does it hurt children? Well, they can lose a limb. Who knows? Now, you may not know exactly how mercury contamination is going to hurt children, all right? But you're going to try, okay? So no Googling. What do you think? How does mercury contamination hurt children? All right, we got hearing digestive problems. Okay, you can say it can cause mercury poisoning, but what does mercury poisoning cause, okay? So that is better than it can hurt kids, don't get me wrong. But we got to take one more step, okay? We can say it poisons them, but poisons can do lots of different things, okay? So, yes, it does cause digestive problems. It can cause nausea, it can cause people to throw up and stuff like that. Can you Google? Yes, you can Google, but not tonight, all right? Because tonight it's not really something you have to worry about. So here's what I came with. And, yes, I did Google. Mercury contamination in food can impair. That means hurts. That's just a fancy way of saying it hurts or it decreases children's motor skills. And apparently I didn't know how to write a proper sentence. And and causes difficulties with thinking and problem solving. Okay. Motor skills. That's basically being able to move hands and fingers and, wiggle your toes and such. Okay. It causes lots of different things, okay? It causes lots of different things. Actually, I don't remember if I saw hearing or not. Okay? Here's a cool thing. If it didn't ask how many things to say, you can put a whole string of them in there. We're good. Try to make sure that your first one, your gut instinct of what it does, that's the first one you put on there. Just in case the rubric says, and only take the first answer and ignore everything else, okay? All right, so no more flowery phrases. We'll have a little bit more practice on Sunday night. All right, so endocrine disruptors. Oh, see, now that we can probably accept. Okay. Neurological deficits, that means brain problems. All right, so let's talk about this. Let's talk about some power verbs. Things that in the questions are going to be in bold. Okay, they started doing this a couple of years ago. They would take the words that you really have to understand in order to answer the question and put them in bold. Things like identify. Basically, if you can point at it, if you can find it, you are identifying. Okay, identify the color of the girl's hair in the image below. That's an identify question. All right, what is the color of the girl's hair? Okay. It is a UNA concept, Harrison said. They didn't get to it. So they probably won't talk about hardly any human health effects beyond what air pollution could do. Now, and identify, here's the thing. And you're right, the answer is brown. And you can say, in fact, I appreciate you answering it just like that. You didn't just say brown. You said it is brown. Or you can say the girl's hair is brown. Again, we're trying to use our complete sentences because it gives us complete thoughts. If you have to put a little bit more time and effort into it, it's probably going to be a better answer, okay? You're going to save time by just like putting in those little phrases, but you may not get full value for your answer because it may be a little bit too vague, okay? Especially if you're like some of the people I've graded in the past couple of years, they just put all in a paragraph. Don't do that. Label things. A, write your answer. B, write your answer. C, write your answer. Don't A, write your answer. Oh, here's B, write your answer. Here's C. No. Again, this is not a hunting expedition. Pretend that the reader is stupid and explain it to us and make it easy for us to see. Remember, we have a lot of things to grade here. All right, so the next one is a describe question, okay? So describe. Basically, tell why or how something is happening, okay? Talk about its characteristics, identify it, and then tell why it's happening or describe things. Again, I can't use the word in its own definition, but you know how to describe, okay? Describe what the girl is wearing in the image below. Exactly, Tony. It's an identify with a little explanation on it. Exactly. Okay. The girl below is wearing, it seems to be dark-colored pants and a dark-colored shirt that has gray stripes about halfway, and then below that, it's white stripes. Okay. So I said she's wearing pants. I said she's wearing a shirt. Then I described the pants are dark-colored, and then I described the pattern that was on her shirt. Okay. That's a description. Black and white shirt that contains stripes, that works. Black pants and white flats. Oh, I forgot that she had feet. My bad. You're right. Thank you, Tanya. All right. Next one is explain or analyze. Okay. Here you're going to show a relationship. You're going to see that there's a process. You're going to see that there's a pattern. Okay. Use the evidence that's given. Okay. Use the data. If there's a chart, use the data. One of the questions that I was doing with my students before all COVID-19 happened, it said using the data provided, explain the trends that you see. And all I said was, like on that graph that's in the middle there, all I said was, well, the line had a positive increase, then when it decreased, and when increased and decreased and increased. But in this case, actually, all it was a straight line, the one I had. And it gave me no credit. I said, what the heck? I said the trend it was increasing. But the question says, using the data, describe the trend. So anytime it says using the data, put a number in there. Oh, it was increasing by 10%. Or it decreased by 25%. Or it went from this point to this point. And then from this point down to this point, and then from that point up to this point. Okay? If it says use the data, there better be some sort of numbers in there. You may not have to use a calculator, but you better put some numbers in there if it ever says using the data. Okay? Okay, let's see. I would assume the exclamation would connect to the prompt. Yes, most times they connect to the prompt. Okay? So identify and describe are mostly logic. Explain is more critical thinking. Precisely. Exactly. Okay. Oh, yeah. And another thing, like Harrison said, if it's a process, link those steps. This happens, then this happens, then this happens. Okay. Justify. If you're ever asked to justify a stance or a claim, then you need to, again, no straddling that fence. You pick a side. Okay. You tell us why you picked that side. Tell us why you think air pollution is a good thing. Well, I believe air pollution is a good thing because it gives more jobs to people that have to be able to clean up the air, to remove the air pollution. There. Okay. You may not have to agree with it. But if it says, take a stance one way or the other, you better put your all into it. Okay. If you say it causes pollution, explain how it does that. Yeah. Exactly. Anytime you ever see the word pollution, if you ever use the word pollution, there better be some sort of pollutant on there, how it's caused, or basically there should be some sort of specification of that pollutant. Okay. Justify as an AEC. What is an AEC? You're going to have to explain that to me. Remember, I'm old. I'm eating animal crackers. Oh, please. Yes, most definitely. Thesis, your statement, and the evidence. Okay? Read this. Yes. We call it CER, a claim, evidence, and reasoning. All right. If you're asked to make a claim or to draw a conclusion, basically you should have some sort of evidence in front of you, and you probably propose a solution, propose an outcome, predict what's going to happen. Like on that chart that's in the middle there, what would you predict would happen in 5 years? Well, I would predict. It would either, it would continue going up. Don't ever give us two things. Well, it could either go up or it could go back down. No. You're straddling the fence again. You pick one thing based on the evidence. They'll say it could do this or it could do this. We will only grade the first thing you say. Ignore anything after the or. That's it. You pick one thing. Remember, you're answering the question, nothing else. Can you make a list of formula for all these? You don't need a formula chart. But yeah, you could. Healthy, tasty water. Alrighty. Oh, there's still more things about FRQs. I know you're super happy about it. Guess what we're going to talk about here? Look at your context clues. Okay, so the question is, if it asks you to predict with a graph, would you still need to use numbers? Not necessarily. I would talk about, it's either going to go up, a positive, or a negative. It's either going to increase or decrease or something similar to that. And ding, 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 winner, winner, chicken dinner. Yes, people, guess what? We are talking about experimental design. The one thing that a lot of people have been really scared about is like, how do I design an experiment? I don't know what these things are. You're perfectly fine. You're in good hands. Not necessarily my hands, but your teachers are good people too, okay? Let's see. But if we say something incorrect after the first example, then won't readers count the whole question as wrong? Not necessarily. If you say, let's say, the sky is blue, but really it's green, then yes, that's gonna take up points. But like in the earlier example, I said, okay, so it's going to go up, or it could go down. Well, if it was going to go up and you're going to get credit for that or part, we're going to ignore. Okay. I know it's a very fine line. It's like splitting hairs. So what I would do is, again, no babbling. Okay. We don't want what we used to call wordy ones, where you just type a whole bunch of junk and you got like 1 point for it. Pick a stance. If it asks for more than one thing, you provide more than one item. If it asks just one item, that's it. You don't say anything else. You just give us that one thing. No splitting hairs, nothing like that. All right. Whew. Son, are you making food?
Yes.
Did Mom tell you?
Mom said it's fine.
Okay. Apparently my son's making his own food. He's never going to offer me food, though, because he's mean like that. That's okay. I love my kid anyway. Let's go. All right. I have to love my kid. He's 6'6", and I'm only 6'2". Take some of it? Yeah. Like I just said, he's 6'6", and I'm only 6'2". I'm the medium person in my house. All right. Let's talk about experimental design. Your independent variable, the IV, okay? And you can use abbreviations, again, so long as they're abbreviations that most normal people can figure out. IV is an easy one. Independent variable. If you ever have to use an abbreviation more than once, write it all the way out first and then abbreviate it after that. Okay. Simple ones like W/ was with or W/O without. You're good. Okay. So the independent variable, this is the variable that you get to choose to alter. You are making the choice. Okay. As of right now, I could either steal my son's food or not steal my son's food. Right. So the choice is whether or not to steal my son's food. Okay. The result of that action is what we call the dependent variable, or the DV. It's the effect. Okay. So independent variable is cause, dependent variable is effect. I'm pretty sure I know what the effect is of stealing my son's food. I come back with nubbins. Okay. Where once there were fingers, now there'd be nubbins. Okay. So here's an example I want you guys to try. If students participate in Mr. Nielsen's weekly cram sessions, then the students will have a higher APES exam score. All right, this is a hypothesis. So which portion of this hypothesis is the independent variable? All right. All right, I got one vote for participation. All right, 2 votes. Yes. So whether or not to participate is your independent variable. Okay. Whether or not you decide you want to participate, that is your independent variable. What's the effect? Oh, thank you very much, Tanya. If you guys see that, Tanya is providing lots of fun information over there for us. All right, so what is the effect on here? So Ivy is attending the session, the participation. What is the result? Higher test scores. Yeah, okay. Now, when we're talking about experiments that has to be testable, can we test to see if this works? Is this a testable hypothesis? It really is, okay? And we'll talk about why it's a testable thing here in a second, all right? Like when we talk about what is a control group. A control group are exactly those who are not participating. So we can look at the scores of people who have been coming to Cram sessions and people that have not been coming to Cram sessions, okay? And we can compare those scores. That's our control group, people who haven't been coming. See, yes, Tanya, read my mind. Awesome. I love it when people read my mind. Now, can you read potato chips? Because I would like to have those. Tell my wife. Okay. See, I already got the answer up there. All right, let's keep going. Constants are factors or basically parts of the experiment that are not supposed to change. They're supposed to stay the same. That's why they're called constant. They don't change. They're not altered. Now, there's not really one that we can have here. My bad. You're right. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, the exam. Everyone's taking the exact same exam. You're not taking different exams and stuff like that. Okay, so long story short, there are different questions on the exams. I've been seeing lots of tweets out there that people have been, and they're not saying what the questions are, but they've been conversing. No, that's not a bad thing, Tanya. That's not a bad thing. You're not supposed to be conversing about the test questions as it is. Y'all are not supposed to talk about like, okay, so I'm on question 1A. So what did y'all get? No, you can't talk about that. You don't get to say anything until all the tests are done, okay? So don't worry about it. They're still legitimate questions, and they're still going to show your knowledge, okay? And you're perfectly fine. All right, so let's keep going here. All right, so same date, same time. I didn't even put on their same exam. Yeah. So you notice everyone is taking the exact same test, or pretty close to it, the exact same time. No stress, no stress. Deep breaths, deep breaths. Oh, definitely make sure you guys go to the bathroom before the test and have like a glass of water next to you, okay? Is the control always a group? It may not be a group. It may just be one single, like doing the experiment, again, without the independent variable, okay? Okay, definitely eat beforehand. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. All right, so let's talk about the hypothesis. It's got to be testable, it's got to be measurable, and it should be repeatable. All right, so with my hypothesis that I stated up there, it is testable. We can actually do that. It's not something like, well, if we test on Mars. No, we can't do that. We can't get to Mars. Is it measurable? Yes, we can see exam scores. Can it be repeated? Yes, we can try this again next year and the year after that and stuff like that, okay? Again, it can be repeated yearly, okay? Exactly. Hopefully under the same conditions, just not the whole stay-at-home thing. So a proper hypothesis is an if-then statement. If I do the IV, then the DV will happen, all right? If cause, then effect. Oh, no, I don't think you're trying to correct anybody. You're adding to the conversation, okay? David, you don't have to do the because. You don't have to explain why. You don't always have to do the explain why. Most times our hypothesis is, I think this will happen. I think if I do this, then this will happen. You do not actually have to do an explanation. Now, your teachers want you to do an explanation because they want you to think your way through this, okay? Is it good to do the why? You know what? I wouldn't have a problem if you did it. Okay, it's not a bad idea. Okay, it's not a bad idea anyway to do that. What about the AP graders? Is it okay to do it? Here's the thing. As an AP grader, there's only actually technically been one FRQ historically that we've had an experimental design, and that was a very long time ago. I think it was 2010 or 2012. So if you have the time, put the explanation in there. But if not, just do the if-then. If I do this, then this will happen. Okay? You can always go back and you can modify your stuff before you upload if you have the time. Okay? If you feel better about putting it on there, then do so. Okay? Better safe than sorry. If we don't do an exam, will it count? Yes, you still, if they ask to write a hypothesis, you can do the if-then. Yeah. Even if it's worth 3 points, you got the if and the end. That's 2 of the 3 points. Again, we're not trying to get maximum points. We're just trying to get as many points as possible. Okay. Cool. All right. You have. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I got a question on here. Let's see what the question is. If you got the hypothesis right and the because wrong, would you lose the point though? It's possible, but I've been teaching daggone 20 years now. I don't really need the because. Most of the labs we're doing, your because has already been placed in like a previous statement. There's a reason why I'm doing this lab. The if I do this and then this will happen is usually enough. Okay. If I steal my son's food, then he will kick my butt because he will now go hungry. That's added extra information. It may give us an understanding as to why he's going to kick my butt, but it's not necessarily always needed. And I don't think that you're going to lose a point because you had an incorrect why you have on there. All right. That's just my 2 cents worth. Again, if you don't know, don't put it. You're trying to get as many points as possible. Okay. Okay. So let's keep going here, shall we? Boop-a-doop-a-doo. Keep saying boop-a-doop-a-doo. All right. Let's talk about parameters. Okay. Let's talk about, you need to at least make the experiment happen at least 3 times. Okay. In my case, there would be, X amount of students, not just one student's doing it. I have X amount of students that have been coming to the sessions. Okay. Let's see what else I have on here. I want you guys to make sure that you tell us what type of measurements you're going to collect. In this case, I'm collecting AP scores, or I'm collecting height of the plant, things like that. Okay. Something that can be measurable. Happiness is not necessarily a measurable thing. You can't tell if somebody is more happy than another person, So again, it's got to be logical. You got to be facts. Exactly. Awesome. Right there. Okay. And how often are you going to take these measurements? In my case, it would be yearly. Okay. Once every, June. And Tanya's right. You are designing experiments, so hopefully you should know how it works. Okay. If you ever ask the procedures, put them step by step. First, I do this, then I do that, then I do this. Okay. If you forgot a step, you can always go back in there and write it in there. Okay. Alrighty, let's keep going, shall we? And of course, how large is your sample size? Usually more is better. You can't test everybody. You can't test everything. Okay. Well, I want to have the information for every AP student. Well, that's just not possible. Okay, they're not going to give us that. I want to check every tree in the forest. Well, good luck with that. I hope you have a whole team of field researchers that have nothing better to do with their lives other than to check trees. Okay, that's a really bored scientist right there. So limit yourself, but usually more is better because it gives, and the reason why, it gives you more consistent data. If I just looked at one student who was in a Cram session and one student who wasn't, that's not great data. If I look at, 5 and 5, now I'm getting better and better data. Okay. Whew. All righty. Y'all ready for this? All right. Oh, what? Missed the click. All righty. Do more trials for more accurate results. Exactly. You could average the scores from the 2 groups. Yeah, actually. And that could be part of the measurements is that you get the average of those scores or the mean of those scores, some sort of statistical data. Not that we do statistics much, hardly, in APES, but that's all right. Guys, I'm noticing my time is running out rapidly. So anything I don't talk about tonight, I am putting into Sunday night's thing, okay? I have everything on here for question 1, question 2. But if we don't get to tonight, it will be on Sunday night. I promise you. Anything that's missed tonight is going to overflow. We are going to go over a little bit. That's not a problem. We're going to try to get as much of question number 1 as possible. Okay, so here is what we have for sample question number 1. All right, so here's this lovely little diagram. They love diagrams because it's less words, and people like diagrams too. Okay, so as the diagram below shows the cycling of carbon. Okay, so the very first question we have on here was, let's see, get rid of that. Oh, there's another question. I do apologize. All right, so the other question is, should the process be in list form or paragraph form? Oh, you can do it in list form. Yeah. First do this. You can do it in paragraph form. It won't really matter. It's just easier to see in list form. Oh, sorry about that question. You didn't see it earlier. All right, so here's my first question. Identify a process in the diagram that removes carbon. So how do we know how do we know that the carbon is being removed from our atmosphere here? What is the indicator on our diagram that carbon is being removed? The arrows. In fact, the direction of the arrows. Okay, better answer. The arrows that are coming out of the atmosphere. Okay, so in this case, we have a couple of different answers that we can provide. I saw one of them up there already. Is, of course, photosynthesis right there. Photosynthesis. And do we have to explain it? Yeah, maybe. It says that identify. No, we don't have to explain. We're good. Photosynthesis removes carbon dioxide from the air, or removes carbon from the air. Okay. Absorption of carbon by the ocean. Basically, the ocean is a carbon sink. Sucks up the carbon out of the air sometimes. Okay. That is an appropriate thing. Okay. Again, do we need to explain? No, because that question right there just says identify. So we're good. We can just say carbon is removed by photosynthesis. Boom, we're good. All right. So next question here. Now, the B question that was originally on that document, talking about the hydrologic cycle. What portion on here is also a portion of the hydrologic cycle? There isn't. There's nothing on here that's part of the hydrologic cycle. The only possible thing is, and it's very, very loose, see where it says respiration? Well, if you mix up the word and say transpiration, yeah. So respiring plays a role in the hydrologic cycle because respiration occurs. Respiration is the breakdown of sugar and the release of carbon dioxide. Okay. The water vapor is actually being used by your body. The water vapor you breathe out is actually still the water vapor that you had from the air that you just condense and breathe back out. So yeah, there really is not any portion on here that is also a portion of the hydrologic cycle. Okay. There's not. So sometimes they make mistakes, and that's perfectly fine. But if you can't think of anything, again, we skip it, we come back to it later. Maybe our brains will function again later. In this case, the question was bad. Don't expect there to be any bad questions on the AP exam. Don't expect that at all. They've been working on these questions for a very long time, a couple of years, and they just added a couple extra portions to it. Okay? All right. Oh, wait. All right. No, sorry. I gave you the answer. All right. So identify, again, just point something out. Identify a process in the diagram that sequesters carbon. If you don't know what sequester means, Google it. It means to trap. Okay. So Tanya gives me an answer. A process is the carbon trapped within fossil fuels, such as coal. Awesome. Okay. Decaying organic matter leading to limestone and organic sediments to build up. Awesome. I believe you, Tanya, because I only had it on there very briefly. So here's the answer that I gave. So all that decaying organic matter, and I use my little shorthand, the little arrows, that turns into calcium carbonate sediments, and that right there will turn into limestone. Or you can say that decaying organic matter eventually forms oil or gas or coal, okay? And yeah, you can say decaying organisms and all that, okay? Synonyms are perfectly fine, okay? Yeah, you're right. The question is not that bad. They like to start you off easy. They're not going to slam you at first. They're going to let you start off easy, get your brain juices flowing, okay? You're going to be good. Alrighty. So, let's see if anything like. All right, we're good now. All right, so here is my next question on here. Same diagram right here. All right, question part D. Explain how the rate at which fossil fuels, so I abbreviated that. Did I mention heat and pressure? Nope, I didn't. You know why? Because look at what the question asks. Identify a process. So that organic matter over time turns into coal. Don't technically have to mention it because it says identify the process. And in this case, that organic matter turning into coal, I guess, yeah, you should say heat and pressure to have the best answer. You're right. So even if you didn't put heat, at least pressure would be on there. Hey, thank you for catching me on that. Awesome. All right, so again, explain how the rate at which fossil fuels are transferred into the atmosphere, as shown in the diagram, has altered the carbon cycle during the last 250 years. They used the 250 years because that was, the start of us using coal. Industrial revolution was a little bit after the 250-year mark and stuff like that, okay? So yeah, this is going to be a little bit longer because it says explain. Okay. So the very first thing I point out is this, that burning the fossil fuels releases carbon in the atmosphere. Okay. And you do not just say using fossil fuel. Okay. Don't say that, because I can tell you right now, like this plastic pen right here, use fossil fuels. It itself is not releasing carbon dioxide into the atmosphere or any form of carbon. But burning or combusting the fossil fuels, that's what puts it into the atmosphere. And in the past, people have lost a point because they say, using fossil fuels. No! All right, petroleum jelly, stuff like that. That is a fossil, it's made from fossil fuels, but it's not putting things in the atmosphere. Burning it, combusting that fossil fuels, okay? That releases the carbon into the atmosphere. It releases it faster than what it can be removed from the atmosphere. So it says, explain how the rate at which we are putting it in the atmosphere faster than it can be removed. So it's adding more carbon dioxide or more carbon to the atmosphere. All right? You guys good with that? Does that satisfy your answering right there? Sweet. For me, because the chat stopped, I thought, dang, did we freeze again? So, all righty. So Maddie says we're good, and I appreciate Maddie saying that. So let's go into the next part. Part E. Oh, I like that. Now, notice that there are two bold words in here. So this is a two-parter. It says identify an energy source in the diagram commonly used to produce electricity that also causes acid rain. Okay. So fossil fuels being burned has increased the rate at which carbon was released in the atmosphere exponentially. Ooh, much faster. Okay, we can do that. Due to the Industrial Revolution, which created an increase in the burning of fossil fuels. Let me see. Let me double check. No, you can do it. That's perfectly fine as one sentence. That all works. Yes, you said it has increased exponentially. I believe you would get a point for that. You're good. Okay. All right. So, what's an energy source in the diagram that we use to make electricity, but also causes acid rain? Help me out here. Energy source in that diagram that we use for electricity. Coal works. Thank you. Not necessarily. You didn't have to. Okay? Because it just talked about the rate of fossil fuels in the atmosphere. Adding that extra information in this case didn't hurt it. Okay? It helped to have the reader understand your reasoning. It didn't hurt it. You're perfectly fine. Oil and natural gas, both of those. Now, do we usually use oil for electricity? Not necessarily. Okay? Natural gas, it can be used as what we call a co-generator. But in this case, I would stay away from oil because it says to produce electricity. And the majority of all electricity is, it says car energy, but not, car energy is not electricity, technically. Okay. So actually, the gasoline doesn't technically produce electricity for your car. That goes through, that the movement of the pistons and the shaft and all that turns an alternator that gives you energy, electricity for the car. Okay. So in this case, oil's way out. Gas, some cases, definitely coal. Okay. Fossil fuel in this case is going to be too vague. Let's see. Combustion of fossil fuels creates electricity. Yes, in this case, it's too vague because not all the fossil fuels are used for electricity. The main one being coal. So that's how College Board likes to split hairs. They say this is the kind of question that would basically separate a 4 from a 5. Is this one right here. Again, to produce electricity. Okay. Can we do any of those, coal, gas, or oil, do any of them help to produce the NOx and SOx and all that for acid rain? Yes. But which one specifically for coal? That's where they divide what's a 4, who gets a 4, who gets a 5. Okay. So again, one of those things was answer the question that was asked. That right there, just keep that in your head. Answer the question that is asked. All right. But even if, let's say you didn't get that point. Okay. Let's say somebody didn't get that identify point. Now look at the next part. Describe how it causes acid rain. We know that all three of those can cause acid rain. That's perfectly fine. Now, if you didn't get the point for identify, you can still get points for the describe. All right, so let's see if she got the description point. Releases carbon into the atmosphere, which is trapped in the clouds until it is released and travels back down to the ground. Almost, you forgot one part, is when it's trapped in the clouds, it combines with water and then falls down as the acid rain. Because NOx and SOx, NO, NO2, and SOx, SO2, SO3, and stuff like that, they themselves are not acidic until they combine with water. Until we create HNO2 or H2SO4. Do you have to know those specifically? No. Harper, yes, she was close, okay? Just the addition of one or two words in there and got full credit, okay? You didn't know that? That's not a problem, okay? Again, we're not trying to make a perfect test. We're trying to get as much points as possible. And here's the thing. If you did have the time, you can quickly Google a picture of acid rain. You can quickly, bring out your phone or even your device that you're using. You can, type in Google acid rain. You can bring up an image. You can see those. And you can do that rather quickly, okay? Does it help you answer the first part? Not necessarily, okay? Or your notes, exactly, if your notes you have them, okay? Yeah, okay. Whew. All right, I am over, but we're going to finish off question number 1. Okay, we're going to finish off question number 1. I'll just save question number 2 until Sunday night, okay? Y'all good with that? All right, let's keep going here. So, there is a part F on here. It says, describe a method for reducing the acid rain you described in part E. Here's the thing. If you totally skip part E, you can't get any points for part F because you had to use what you had in E to answer F. So if you just ignored E, you can't get any points for F. Does that make sense? Okay. So describe a method to reduce the cause of acid rain. So again, we're, our making of electricity. Can somebody give me an example how we could reduce the amount of NOx and SOx in our atmosphere from electrical generation and such? I know. It's a thinker. I'll tell you one thing that they would not give you credit for. Don't use very much electricity. Reduce your electricity. They won't give you that because it's next to impossible to have everybody reduce the electricity that we're going to use. So they're not going to give you credit for that. But here's things that they could give you credit for. All right. Use alternative energies for electricity. Wind, solar, geothermal. Okay. Since it says describe, I can't just say use wind. Why can't I just say use wind? Because that's an identify. I have to describe. By using wind energy, it reduces the amount of NOx in the air, which helps produce acid rain. Now there's my description. By using electrostatic scrubbers or by using wet or dry scrubbers in the smokestacks of the electrical power plant, it can remove NOx or SOx, whatever one, from the waste stream that goes into the environment, and that will reduce acid rain. You see how I didn't say use scrubbers? That doesn't describe anything. You just identified. You have to, again, as Tanya helped us out earlier, with this, you have to identify and give an explanation. So use a scrubber because it will reduce the amount of NOx in the atmosphere that helps produce acid rain. Again, it has to be something legitimate. You can't just say, take all the water out of the air and that'll stop acid rain. No. Use really big fans so that we disperse the NOx throughout the rest of the atmosphere. No. Again, it has to be something legitimate, all right? Hey, are you guys stalled? All right, take a quick little finger break. Give me your emojis. Give me some emojis here. Tell me that you're still alive. Please. A thinky face. Hello? Is anybody out there? Oh no, I think we're stalled. All right, I'm going to keep going here. Not sure where everyone is. Crowdcast has been fun. All right, let me keep going because hopefully it's still recording me here. So, next one is talking about the designing experiment here. Okay, scientists are interested in investigating how limestone can help remediate or basically reduce the effects of acid rain. Okay, they take lake water that had recently been exposed to your acid rain. They divide it up into 10 little tanks, and then they add different amounts of limestone to it. No limestone is added to one of our tanks, and then they check the pH every hour for 24 hours. Okay, so on here, it says identify the independent variable. The independent variable is, if you go back up there and look, what's the thing that we are changing? We are changing the amount of limestone that is added to each tank. Okay, so the amounts of limestone right there is what we change. All right, so the next part is, what is our dependent variable? In this case, what are we testing for? What measurements are we taking? We are measuring how much pH change there was. All right, so I didn't actually say it properly there. It says pH of the water. We want to say the change in the pH of the water. Okay. All right, so the next question on here is identify the control group. Again, the control group is done without the independent variable. It even said in there, we are going to have one tank that has, no limestone in it whatsoever. None there at all. That's our control group because we're going to use that control group in order to compare our results back. All right. Jade, describe. So basically identifying, give a little explanation to it. Describe how the results of the experiment could likely change if it was conducted at lower temperature. Lower temperatures cause chemical reactions to slow down. So if it doesn't happen nearly as quickly, you will not see very much change in your pH, or the change in the pH will be slower than at the higher temperatures. Okay. All right. So if it just said a change in temperature, you'd have to either go higher or lower. I would do both. But this one time it says lower temperature. All right. Describe, again, identify, explain. Identify and give us some reasoning behind it. Identify one additional variable that is not mentioned that you could affect the results of their investigation. Well, technically in our paragraph, it didn't say anything about temperature. So yeah, you could change the temperature of the water. If there was some sort of organic matter in there, life forms or just debris, okay, other chemicals in the water, that could affect our results. Okay, we don't know what the effect is, but you would have to describe it. So the temperature of the water, since it just says describe one additional thing, you have to say, well, if this happens, then it'll either decrease or decrease. Okay, so if you don't know the answer, choose something different, or at least, if you just want 1 point, hopefully they can give you 1 point by saying temperature of the water, but add to it to get, because usually describes or explains are 2 points. Usually, not always, but usually. All right. And last but not least, describe a modification that could be made in the investigation that could affect it. So how could we change it? Let's have, a longer test instead of just for 1 day, 24 hours. Let's do it for a longer. Okay. Having more tanks, we could, increase our sample size. We can increase the actual size of our tubs or the amount of water. We can decrease the amount of water. We can look at fresh water versus salt water and see how that works. Even the time of year, again, because the temperature changes and all that, there's a huge variety of different things that could happen on there. Okay. Really, the sky's the limit. But again, it says describe. Okay. So we'd have more tanks because that would give us more data for more accurate results. That kind of thing. Again, don't just identify it. It's a describe question. Okay. All right. So again, looks like Chad is dead or I'm frozen. Something's happening. We don't know. But I'm going to finish off question 2 when we come back on Sunday. All right. So I don't know what's happening here. I'm going to type hello in our chat. Oh, no clue. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you guys Sunday night. Take care, y'all. Hey, y'all there? Hello? I missed you. Hi. Okay, I'm not sure what happened, but yeah, we really hope this doesn't happen on our 5-hour stream, okay? I really do hope it doesn't happen on a 5-hour stream. I don't want to take any time, so if you guys have to go, please go. You know, obviously you can get this on the replay. I'm just going to finish off that question number 1, okay? So that's all I really want to do. I want to help you guys out with that. That is not what I wanted to do. Silly machine. And again, my computer just doesn't want to work today. It wasn't my computer's fault. It was the Crowdcast again. So yay for us on that. Okay, so here we go. Let me share my screen with you. Again, if you guys have to go, I totally understand it. I'm going to zoom through this as quickly as I possibly can, but I'll do it again Sunday night. No issue. Alrighty, so present. Oh. Make sure you guys can see that here. All right. Okay, really let me refocus. Oh, man. Okay, so let's see. Question number 1. This is not fun at all. Okay. Make sure it's on your all screen here. Okay. We were talking about the rate of transfer on that. We're good. You can say, heck yeah, you can. Oh, awesome then. Good. Okay, so burning, we're talking about that. Energy source, we talked about that. So the energy source, again, that makes electricity is coal. Okay. Describe a method for reducing the cause of it. Again, if you didn't answer E, you can't get points on F. Okay. Because they're joined. They're like conjoined twins. Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. So, and I don't have full screen on here, so I can't see if you guys have questions on it. I do apologize. But let me go through this as quickly as I can for y'all. So describe a method for reducing the cause of the acid rain that you described in part E. Since we talked about coal, putting NOx in there, so we have to describe how NOx removal would be helpful. So my answer would be use alternative energies like wind or solar. And you can't just say use wind or solar because it's described. You can hear me. I can just hear you and see your slides. Okay, well, that's okay because I'm not that pretty anyway, so we don't need to look at me. But so long as you can hear me and you can see the slides, then we're golden. We are good on that. Okay. I wonder if it's because of my Chromebook right now. I don't know. It's all weird. Use alternative energies like wind and solar. And you say, I would use solar because by using solar power for electricity instead of coal, it will reduce the amount of nitrous oxides in the air, which reduces the amount of acid rain. You can say, I would use scrubbers at the power plant that would remove the NOx, or if we said SOx, you can do that. Oh, good, I'm back. Again, you can't just say use scrubbers or use alternative energies because it says a describe thing. So we'll say, I'm going to use this because. Again, just like Tanya said earlier, you say you identify and then, why for describes. Okay. That's important on there. Okay. So let me go on the next part, which is, come on. Why is my thing not working? Whoa, everything's gone. Oh, man. All righty. I will finish off question 1 Sunday night because the whole system was going. Okay. It's right there. That's not helpful. It needs to be on my screen. Okay. It's kind of back. It's kind of back. All right. So talking about using limestone to remove acid rain from water, remediate the effects of acid rain. So they took water from a lake that just had acid rain deposited in it, put it into 10 tubs, put different amounts of limestone into those tubs. In one of those tubs, they used no limestone whatsoever. And then they checked the pH every hour for 24 hours. So the question is here, identify the independent variable. So what's the independent variable? The thing that we are going to choose to change. We are changing the amounts of limestone. The results of those change, that's the dependent variable. By changing the different amounts of limestone, we will change the amount of pH in the water. Now, I just said pH in the water. Technically, you need to say it'll change the amount of the pH in the water or the strength or concentration of pH. Okay, don't just say pH. Again, we're all highly intelligent people. We need to speak highly intelligently. The control group that said earlier that we're going to have one of these tanks that has no limestone. Since limestone is part of our independent variable, looking at the pH without any limestone in it, we can use that to compare. That's going to be our control group. Okay. There's a lag. Okay, good. Okay. Of course. Yeah, we're kind of back briefly. Describe how the results of the experiment could likely change if it was at a lower temperature. So, are you very active when you're cold? Think of it that way. I know when I'm cold, I'm just sitting there shivering. I'm not able to do things. My brain doesn't even work properly. So, same thing with chemical reactions. If the chemical reaction is done at a colder temperature, it slows it down. So, therefore, there will not be as great a change in the pH, or the pH will stay closer to its beginning range because of that cold temperature. Okay. If it said what would happen at a higher temperature, then the reaction would happen faster. So we'd see a faster pH change until it levels out. Next question on here says, describe one additional variable that has not been mentioned that could affect the results. Technically, temperature wasn't really mentioned as part of the question. So if you said temperature again, you could, but you have to describe higher temperature faster, lower temperature slower results. There could be life forms in there that could affect it. So I know, maybe that you say that if there are certain types of insects inside the water, maybe they would interfere with the results of the pH change. Again, it's a describe, so you can't just say they're very insects. You're going to have to say what's going to happen with it. How is it going to be affecting the results? And then my last one on here says, describe a modification that could be made to the investigation that would affect it. So one was an additional variable, something that could be changed, amount of organisms or not, temperature or not. A modification, could we change this investigation a little bit? Talk about different times of the year, run the test longer, more than 24 hours, have different sized tanks, different amounts of water. Again, describe it. Tell me why you would do that. The easiest one for me on here would be have more tanks. More tanks means I have more accurate results. I have a better average of results. Longer than just 24 hours. Maybe it doesn't actually affect the temperature for the first while. So maybe the first 10 hours. So maybe it needs longer to react. That kind of thing. So again, with descriptions, it has to be more than that. I can only read part of your answer there, Tanya, so I'm sorry. It says one modification could be checking the pH of the water more frequently. But would that change the results, though? Okay, by checking the pH more frequently doesn't necessarily change the results. It doesn't affect how the limestone is affected. Actually, technically, the longer duration doesn't affect it either. Oh, yeah, my bad. The longer duration does, but how often you check the pH may not. Okay? In this case, it would not technically. You're still going to have pH changes, and they would still be, like if I did it every 2 hours, they would still be the same, pH changes. Okay? But it says a modification that could, that would alter the results. Okay? So by doing, and actually that would be one of the variables for K, is a variable not mentioned that could affect a variable. I would do it more often. I would look at more often. That could be a variable that could change it. You might have a slightly different slope. Okay. But not necessarily a modification, I don't think. So, Wow. Okay, man, this is lots of fun. So hopefully, like y'all said, I hope this doesn't happen on on Sunday, because that would not be fun. But if it does, of course, we're going to try to get back as quickly as possible. Alrighty. Oh man. So y'all, ladies and gentlemen, daggum. Yeah, we're not jinxing it. Hey, we're having nothing but powerful, friendly, happy thoughts. Okay. I do look forward to seeing y'all again on Sunday. You know, for a lot of us, that's going to be our last time together. It's sad. It's like it's literally the end of the school year. So, man, I do appreciate y'all coming. I really do. I've had lots of fun being your Cram streamer. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, really, I really hope that hope you guys have a good week, and I hope to see y'all. I hope to see y'all Sunday. Okay, Sunday afternoon, Sunday night. So, ladies and gentlemen, I love you. Take care. See you later. See you guys Sunday night. All right. Bye-bye. Take care. Let's see, how do I stop this? I can't see it on my screen anymore. Oh, you know what? Y'all are very welcome. Y'all are very welcome. Okay. All right. I gotta stop my video. Why is this not happening? Alrighty. We'll figure this out. I am not using this Chromebook anymore. Silly Chromebook. Hey, bye, y'all. Take care. Man, let me out of here. There we go. End broadcast.